Welcome back to the Jess Cagle Show with Julia Cunningham.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Jess Cagle Show with Julia Cunningham. I love our next guest. I would say she's a friend of the show. Been on a few times. So good. Highly decorated, Emmy-winning star of stage and screen. And she is now taking Broadway by storm in a play that I saw when I was in New York a couple of months ago called Appropriate. And she plays a character named Tony. We're going to dig into it. She's just brilliant. Sarah Paulson, welcome to the show again.
What an extraordinary introduction. I feel like that was so lovely. Thank you so much.
First of all, thank you for doing the show. I know you're piping in from New York. You've got a show later today. I know that I was surprised that you even agreed to do it because this show, this character that you play, it's got to be exhausting. It's an emotional roller coaster.
It is indeed, but it is a testament to my love for you and this program that I said, yes, I wouldn't miss it. So I'm happy to see your face. I wish it could be in person.
I know. I wish I was in New York, except then would be asking you to trudge through the miserable.
Yeah, we'd be like, you
there.
have to be in person if we're there.
Yeah, Sarah would be like, no.
This is better. This is better than for that solely for that reason.
Anyway, we'll let you whisper whatever you need to do. Preserve that voice.
No, whispering is actually the worst thing for your voice.
Wait, really?
How do you manage
because
that?
you're putting more strain on your vocal cords. Because you're not using any breath to support it. And so you're like, it's actually a bad thing. Talking on the phone and whispering, negative components of helping your voice to stay strong.
Tell us about Tony. I mean, it is a fascinating family. I guess you could say family drama, but also, I mean, family trauma and family drama. But tell us who Tony is.
Well, I play a character named Antoinette Lafayette. She goes by Tony. And I am one of 3 siblings who return home to deal with their late father's estate. And the siblings, none of them are particularly in a close moment in their lives, and they all have different wants and needs about what they need out of the weekend of parsing through their father's things. And Tony is, one would argue, a challenging person to be around. You've seen the play, Jess. Maybe you can confirm or deny that.
Yes, she is a very, very challenging person. Yeah.
Yes.
So much. I don't want to give anything away.
I don't want to give anything away either, and I don't want to.
She doesn't really want to face reality. Maybe the dad wasn't
now,
such
Jess,
a great
that is
guy.
where wrong. Wrong, my friend, my kind friend. I don't want to give anything away. It's hard to talk about because there are so many things that get revealed kind of early on, but I do think it's better for people to come in not having too much information about it. But suffice to say, Tony, who is the eldest member of this family, has a different point of view about what her father may or may not have been capable of. And she is the one member of the family who believes he is an innocent man.
Yes, they find things in the house that are disturbing that could lead you to believe that the father had some very dark secrets. I would say that,
but for my money, he sure didn't.
But it's so I think for any family, that sibling dynamic, and that was the thing that was so, because I've got 2 siblings. Just
Me
like
too.
Tony, and then you've got the.
Are you the oldest, Jess?
No,
you the oldest?
I am the youngest.
Oh, see, I am the oldest of my So
just like Tony.
So,
and there's always
life sort of works itself into a nice. It's like, oh, I know what it means to be the eldest, but I'm the eldest of 2 sisters, not 2 brothers.
Okay,
and that changes things a little bit, I think.
But it's also there's. Tony is that sibling who stayed behind and committed herself to caring for the aging parent. And that always, as the parents get older, that's always a fascinating dynamic. We've had that in my family with my sister, who really took care of my mom as she got older. And so it really resonated with me.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, I think there is certainly something in the play for everyone. And everyone has a family, and everyone has a particular place where they sit in that family tree. And I, having been the oldest, it sort of was something that I understood from where Tony perched. I could certainly understand it, but I do think it's true that there's the person who ends up being boots on the ground versus the sibling who's basically writing checks, which is who Corey Stoll plays, the brother who is there in sort of money help only and doesn't do any of the actual hard lifting, heavy labor stuff, which is what Tony's been doing. And so Tony's very tired. Tony has gone through a lot in the last 2 years of her life, including a divorce and dealing with trouble with her teenage son. And things have just been really, really hard. And some people manage things effortlessly. And I would say Tony is not a person for whom anything comes to her effortlessly. She's having a hard moment. We meet Tony at a very challenging moment in her life. Let's put it that way.
And then Michael Esper plays the younger brother who's, just a real F up. And he brings home his new girlfriend, played by Elle Fanning.
A dream.
A literal dream in every sense of the word. She's the most magnificent.
Are you and Elle Fanning developing other stuff together?
We are supposed to do a movie together that is based on the story of Sybil, where she would be playing the patient and I'd be playing the doctor who diagnosed her. So we have this movie that we're supposed to do together that we both love. But then the strike happened and all of that. And we found another way to work together sooner rather than later by doing this play, which is her Broadway debut, just so exciting. And she's so wonderful in it. And I haven't been on stage in 10 years, haven't been on Broadway in 13 years. So it's not my debut, but at this particular point in my working life, it feels like it might as well be, because it is hard. You have to respect people who make their living and spend their life in the theater, because it is you really do it for the love of the thing. And that wonderful experience of like having immediate response from an audience and being able to come out of the stage door and see people who have just been in the dark with you doing this play. And it's different every night because of the audience. And I don't know if audiences are aware of how much we can feel your energy, how much you want to be there versus how much, how many of you were dragged by your mate or your spouse post work and you had a long day and you're like, I don't want to be here. We can feel that too. We can hear every cough you're coughing, every phone alarm that's going off, every playbill that you've dropped on the ground. We can hear all of it. And we wish you would just sit still.
Drag them,
It's
Sarah.
a really wild thing because you're like doing a play and like you're hearing somebody twist off Michael Esper and I the other night were talking about how we both have these sort of long speeches in the play. And we could see this one person sitting in the third row, stage left, I believe, whose leg was doing this the whole time, just like kicking in the air, just doing like a probably very casual thing that this person does all the time where their leg just bobs. We could see it. This person was wearing like all cream. And it was just like, if that person had any idea how distracting they were, we can see you. Stop moving your leg. It's like we have to continue the world of the play for ourselves. But all these sort of outside forces are seemingly conspiring to make it really hard. Because it's not like I think as an audience member, you feel like you're watching at home or something and you ain't.
It has gotten a little bit worse because people are sort of used to watching everything at home.
Jess and I went to Take Me Out together, but we were seated kind of in different sections, and there was a bachelorette party that sat in front of me because they had heard that there's nudity in the show. You know what I mean?
Naked men on the show,
like sashes and everything. We thought, oh my God. And yet also I was like, well, they're going to get some theater. You know what I mean? Like,
they spent a lot of money on that bachelor.
I saw that play.
They came for the wrong reason, and yet you're going to have to sit through a lot to really get that nudity.
And it's funny because I'm sure that those people that were there for that event, and you were there to see a play, and they were there to see some naked men, which is wonderful, but it's not Magic Mike, it's not Las Vegas.
Right.
So it is that thing where their presence probably affected a little bit about the way how you were able to see the show too?
Yeah, well, because I kept watching them in a way.
Of course.
There's like these incredible monologues, and I'm like, what do they think this is?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I mean, this is the thing. It's such I don't know. I love doing theater because I love that alchemy or that synergy that can happen. I can sometimes hear on the monitor, the stage manager turns the monitor on after they call places, and you can hear the audience talking. And we just did this, we do 2 shows on Wednesdays, and We had our Wednesday matinee, which is sometimes, you are thinking like, who's out there on a Wednesday matinee? Someone who's doesn't have to be at work. And, so it's an interesting group of people, and you never know. Sometimes they're actors, sometimes they're an older crowd, but they're all excited to be there. But you could hear the sound on the monitor, and it's kind of murmuring, and they're kind of talking like this, and they're sort of chatting, and you think, oh, this is going to be a little bit of a sleepier show. And it's true. And then that same Wednesday, the monitor came on for the Wednesday night, and they were a crackling. They were so loud, you could almost make out specific voices. And I was like, oh, this show is going to be a live wire show. And it was. So it's like the audience really, the energy that they bring into the room, we can feel it. And it really does change, I think, our energy. And it's a wild thing that happens only in live theater. It's pretty special.
But that's got to be pretty valuable that you listen to the audience a little bit before going out. So you sort of know what to expect, the energy.
Yes. Because on the energetically, you're like, oh, they're not going to be as laughy a crowd. I think they're going to be more of a listening crowd. And, because sometimes this play can play like a full comedy, depending on the audience.
It does have a lot of laughs in it. I mean,
it's
trauma
really
and
funny.
Laughs.
Yeah. And so sometimes it's like that. And other times you have an audience and we are all backstage being like, I think they're really listening, or I don't know, I feel like they're all sleeping, or, and it's the wild thing, like the backstage life where we're all discussing you backstage. And at intermission, we sometimes meet in the hallway, Michael Esper and Corey and Al and I, and we're like, I like them. And someone's like, I don't think they're listening. And then, it's just like a real thing where we're actually talking about you guys, just the way you're talking about us at intermission.
Well, I'm so curious because you and Jess were talking before our interview just about how Jess saw it in previews and you were saying, so much has maybe changed. And I thought that was so interesting because what is it that really changes? I mean, is it because of how reaction once it's done in front of a crowd, or is it more emphasis, or it's like pull back? Like, what do you mean by it's changed a lot, probably?
It's a great question, but it depends on when you saw it, Jess. If you saw, our first performance was God, what was it? November 29th. I think it was November 29th.
I saw it within the first week, like maybe maybe December 5th or the 6th.
Whoa. Okay. Well, so like the epilogue that I don't want to give too much away about what happens at sort of the end of the play. Yeah. That's probably completely changed from what you saw.
Oh, wow.
Completely. Yeah. In terms of just design elements.
Yeah, it was a very sound design heavy sort of
thing. Sound elements are probably different. Brandon, our beautiful, wonderful playwright, Brandon Jacobs Jenkins, was rewriting. So we were doing some surgical excisions and some implementation was happening. But also things are tighter, things are probably richer, deeper now, but just also if you saw it in the first week, things are dramatically different.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it again. Yeah, I only went to see it that early because I happened to be in New York and wouldn't be back. But
most of the time, if you come on a Tuesday and you know me, you're not my friend anymore. This is what I've decided. Although
I didn't know about Tuesdays.
Julianne Moore came on a Tuesday. There was like the last Tuesday I came out like into the green room, and Melanie Linsky was there and Julianne Moore was there and two other friends of mine, and I was just like, you guys, it's a Tuesday. And she was like, well, this is when I could come. It was either now or I don't get to come. And it's like, the Tuesday night is always very strange, which is today. Today is a Tuesday because we haven't done it since Sunday. Whereas if you come at any other point in the week, we've done it a bunch of times. And there's something about doing it repeatedly, which makes everything just, and Holland is always saying to me, I think what you feel is a fractional difference in terms of you guys might not notice anything.
I was going to say, to the naked eye. I mean, look, it's Sarah Paulson.
Yeah, you bring
Corey
it,
Stoll.
and I'm like, come on.
Like, I don't know, you guys. It's like anything else. It's like you like to have a warm up. It's like, let's just say I don't always want my first take of something on a film or a television. When a film or a television camera is rolling, I don't necessarily always want my first take to be the one they use. So it's like on a Tuesday night, you're basically seeing
fair, but you're making it sound like you fall off the stage every Tuesday night.
No, there's no stage falling off. Knock on wood. It's just, it's been since Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, a little rusty.
You got the lines, and it doesn't feel rusty. It's just you first get out there and you're like, wait, what? Oh, right. Hello, everybody. It's wild. Like I try to get to the theater extra early on Tuesdays because I'm like, I'm just trying to it's wild.
You are listening to the Jess Cagle Show with Julia Cunningham. We are here with the great Sarah Paulson, who is starring on Broadway, taking Broadway by storm in a play called Appropriate. We don't want to give too much away, but she plays Antoinette Lafayette, the eldest daughter of three siblings who go back to their late father's house in Arkansas. It's an old plantation house.
Yeah.
And they're going through his stuff. They find disturbing things, and there's a lot of debate over what these things mean or might mean. And it is lots of trauma and family dynamics, which resonated so deeply with me. And I think anybody who has siblings and older parents, but also just a lot of laughs. And I mean, you rip Elle Fanning to shreds in this play. You really do.
Which is the hardest thing to do, because I don't know if you've spent any time with her, but there is no lovelier person on planet Earth. And the thing that Elle and I actually have the hardest time with is we have a hard time not laughing together, because we have and we did have one moment on stage where we started laughing, and our playwright was in the house and he was none too pleased. Let's put it that way.
Wow.
But I mean, he was very sweet about it, this being Elle's Broadway debut and all, and trying to be sort of, the sweet father figure to both of us to sort of say, let's not have that happen again. But she and I have a wonderful, really fun time together. So sometimes, even though we have a little bit of an adversarial relationship in the play, I would say, I think she's there for suspicious reasons, and she feels that she's there for entirely pure reasons.
She's the hippy dippy. She's the hippy dippy girlfriend of the kind of black sheep brother.
Of the black sheep brother, yes.
Tony is the
no nonsense
big sister. Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I just would like him maybe not to date someone half his age.
Well, there's that.
But we were like all speculating yesterday because Elle Fanning, we loved seeing her at the Golden Globes for The Great. But then we thought, oh my God, does she have to red eye back and then jump right on stage? But luckily she had yesterday off, but she's going to be extra Tuesday.
Yes,
we didn't
have Elle. That's right. We didn't have Elle on Saturday afternoon or evening or Sunday. So we had the understudy on Mia, who was wonderful, but yeah, so Elle is going to be, I imagine, tired from. I've been to that Golden Globe evening, and it is a very fun, raucous, good time. And I hope she had a wonderful time, and I hope she is rested and had some tea, and she is ready for Tuesday shenanigans. And we'll COVID test repeatedly. I'm going to make her stick 32 swabs up her nose, because I've also been in that room, and it's a smaller room than people imagine.
It's tiny. That's as you can see everyone's crawling over tables to get up to that stage.
I know. This year it was really like, everybody feels like they're walking on top of the tables to get to the stage.
Yeah. Well, I know. Well, they stuck a giant stage in the middle of the pit.
I know. I don't know why they did that.
Crowded everybody.
I have notes and thoughts about why that was the choice.
When you're done with the play, Sarah, what are you going to be working on? What are you going to from this? How long are you in the play?
I'm in the play till March 3rd, and after that, I don't know yet. I have a film coming out called Dust that I did for Searchlight, but I don't know when that's coming out. And post the strike and my commitment to the play, I don't know. I do not yet know what is next, which is both thrilling and totally terrifying. But I'm trying to, new year, new me, guys. I'm trying to be like. I did a screening last night for Sterling K. Brown, who's my dear friend for American Fiction, which I held a Q&A for him. And he said something like, what is meant for me will be mine, and the rest of it is none of my business. And I thought, I have to think that way more, because I'm too much in that like hard scrabble. I've had a hard time sort of shaking that early career pursuit, hunger, fear thing out of my body, since my success sort of happened in my early 40s, which was not when you imagine you want it to happen. It's not that I wasn't working before that, but it didn't really kind of land into a place that I could rely on.
Well, when you had all kinds of options, you could afford to take time off. So you should enjoy that. And so now I'm a little bit, I still fall back into that. Oh my God, is someone going to call? Are they going to call with something? So, I'm trying to adopt the Sterling methodology, which is, if it's meant for me, it's coming for me, whether I like it or not. Julia and I wanted to do this thing with you called Remember When. Which
yes,
we just like look back at stuff.
Yes.
And it's not hard or anything like that.
Good, because I don't have the bandwidth for anything.
No, I thought it would be like a nice, gentle thing
nice
for
also,
a Tuesday.
And we love this. Yeah.
I have a Tuesdayness in front of me, and I would like not to be mentally challenged and then forsake my show instead.
Ooh, okay. You're having me start?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say my favorite memory of making mud is what?
My favorite memory of making mud was staying in the Days Inn with Reese Witherspoon. We were all staying at the same hotel, meaning me and Reese Witherspoon were at the Days Inn. And we had a really fun night of like staying up late and chatting about a lot of things like good girlfriends. And that was my favorite memory of that movie.
Was everyone at the Days Inn like, oh my God, is that
I don't know where Matthew
Reese
McConaughey was. I don't know where McConaughey was, but I know Reese was there and I was there. And my other favorite memory is that Paul Sparks, who was in that movie, left a bar of oat. I got put in his room. I got put in the same room that Paul Sparks had just vacated, and he had left a very special soap in the shower that was like a sliver of oatmeal soap that had been used. And it was like a sort of drying up. And he left his soap in a little blue candle in that room. And all it meant to me is that he didn't intend to leave it for me, but that no one had really cleaned the room at the day
for sure.
I was staying in there. But I was happy to lather up with Paul Sparks soap rather than someone else's. At least I knew who it belonged to.
Exactly. Yeah. While making Game Change, my best friend on the set was who?
Julianne Moore.
Yeah, you became really good. Was that where you became friends?
That is where we became friends, and we remain friends to this day. And I think she's so brilliant in May, December. I mean, and not to take up time celebrating me to plug someone else, but boy, that performance is extraordinary.
Well, wait, we're interviewing Julianne Moore this afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh, do you tell her I said hi.
Do you have a question for her from May, December? Not to put you on the spot, but
I just want to know who was the inspiration for the speech impediment that she created for the character. Meaning, I know it was her idea, but I want to know if she watched anybody's or anybody that she listened to particularly, or did she invent it out of whole cloth?
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's great.
Yeah. We will ask her.
Oh, your turn.
Oh, is it my turn? Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. How about, this is good. While making Ocean's 8, my toughest day on set was when?
My toughest day on set probably was any day Rihanna was on set, just because it's very hard to be in the presence of someone that talented, that beautiful, that famous, and remain cool. And I don't think I succeeded. And I know I didn't succeed because I was like an irritating little fan person who just like, other people were very good at being cool, but I was not good at being cool. So that was tough. Maybe not for me, but for her.
Is it funny when because here's one of the things I love about Sarah Paulson. She loves
You're a fan.
Pop culture. She is a fan. She allows herself to geek out and be a fan. She's a certified Swiftie, all of these things.
Oh, Taylor Swift, I cannot get enough. It's like, I cannot get enough. I'm possessed. I'm possessed.
How is it? How do you respond when you run into people on the street who then geek out and fanboy or fangirl over you? Because you know it happens.
It does happen, and I don't understand it. I don't that part I don't get. And a lot of people are real American Horror Story fans, which I do understand, because I think that show was so special and was such a big part of my life, and such an exciting opportunity where I got to play. Sterling mentioned this to me last night, and I think it's really true that like, because on American Horror Story we were all constantly playing different characters and different people, audiences got very used to seeing me play different people. So, sometimes people get really stuck in, playing a character that they become most known for. And I sort of got most recognized and known for Horror Story. But in that world, I played so many people that I feel like I get to get away with doing other things and going to sort of extremes without people resisting it, which can be really challenging. So I'm into it. I'm into the people who fan over me about that show, because I'm very proud of having been on it. But I don't think anyone has ever fangirled over me the way I would fangirl over Taylor Swift. I don't know. I don't think you understand. I listen to Taylor Swift songs before I get ready to do this play, which makes no sense because it doesn't serve, but I can't help it. Meaning it's a serve. I know kids, I don't mean it I mean it in the, it doesn't serve me in the work I'm doing to help me listen. My character, I decided would be rocking out to Bob Seger. Tony would love Bob Seger.
Yeah, absolutely.
but she's like, that's what she's putting on the jukebox at the local bar. But Sarah Paulson needs to listen to Taylor Swift before she goes on stage doing appropriate, and do that whatever, do with that what one will.
Sarah Paulson, thank you so much for taking time, risking your voice on a Tuesday to come do the show. We really do appreciate it. And congratulations, Appropriate. It really is a tour de force. I believe that the New York Times called it an eye-opening, sinus-clearing performance.
Wow.
I love that. I love that description. Anyway, Appropriate is on Broadway, starring Sarah Paulson and Corey Stoll and Elle Fanning, and just a terrific cast. Thank you so much for being here, Sarah Paulson.
Thank you for having me, you guys. Let me know when you come, Missy.
Done.
Julia Cunningham.
Spring.
In the spring. I'm going to come back.
Probably February.
Please, I'd like to see you afterwards. Thank you very much.
We'll come see you.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll
good.
be there.
I love it. Great.
Julia Cunningham and I will be back right after this. Appropriate on Broadway.
These days I'm restless, work days are endless. Look how you made me, but tired.